if you don't hire people a lot, you don't even know the first questions to ask just for the screening process. So we're really careful to make sure they have the right equipment, that they have a quiet place to work, that they speak English well. So we do all that before anyone even talks to anybody.
Hey, what's up, you guys? Jeff Cohn here with another episode of the Team Building Podcast, where we interview top team leaders, broker owners, and thought leaders from across the country. Very excited today to have Gwenn Aspen with us. She's the owner of Anequim, that has a essentially remote professional, remote team member, virtual assistant solution, all based out of Mexico. They have over 1,000 remote team members, and she actually happens to live in Omaha. So I have her in studio. She's sitting with me today for the interview.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. We're excited to have you. And we're also excited to have you speaking at our upcoming Team Building Summit, which is May 31st through June 2nd. You're going to be keynoting that event.
I am pumped. I love it. I mean, this is like my favorite topic too.
Let's start with that first. What are you going to be talking about at the Team Building Summit?
Well, we're going to talk about how to build that team. So there's always that pain point as a solopreneur.
Yeah, solopreneur, exactly.
Where you're doing all the things, right? And I mean, it's always a struggle to get that first employee on board because you finally are making enough money. Maybe your spouse is finally not complaining about how you need to get a job, right? And then you're like, but all the money I make right now is going to go straight to that next employee. So anyway, I understand that struggle. I've been in that position. I know you've been in that position before. It's really hard. We're going to talk about how to get from that point to building huge teams that are super productive, getting out of the hamster wheel, and really watching your business and your life thrive.
Well, and you've obviously done that. We were speaking Spanish a little bit together. I'm sure we were both speaking very broken Spanish to each other, but speaking nonetheless. And you've mentioned you'd spent some time in Guadalajara and thought that was a beautiful place. So I definitely need to check that out. But you guys have remote team members all over Mexico.
We do.
Over 1,000.
Yes.
And the thing that really stood out to me about Anequim, which you shared with me, was a Portuguese word, which was for a type of shark.
Yes.
Is that right? And also an airplane line, which is really cool. It's really challenging starting a business these days. All the names are taken. So you either have to have a foreign word or a fake word.
I know. It is really challenging to find a domain that you won't, have problems with later.
It is a challenge. So you guys have done an incredible job at not just finding like your average remote team member, but these are professionals. These are people that have degrees, that have gone on to get professional degrees, that are like next level. So speak to that a little bit.
So a lot of people think about remote team members, and we call them remote professionals because that's really our expectation, is that these are truly professional people. But historically, with the virtual assistant name and everything, people think, they can just do data entry, really rudimentary tasks.
Transaction coordination, outbound calling.
No thinking, no strategic planning, none of that. Well, that is not my experience at all. And we have been working with remote professionals at an insanely high level, really since 2008, where we had our first employee who worked for our prior company, which we've now sold. And she still works at Anequim to this day. But that's when we started working with remote team members. And really, the quality that you can get from Mexico is insanely high. So I'm asking remote professionals, as we call them, I never lower your standards. If you are hiring someone for a job that's done behind a desk, you want the same quality in Mexico as you would ask for someone domestic. And so our people are managing team meetings, strategic planning sessions. They're getting big projects done, quality control. Managing P&Ls. Like, we're talking about the real meat and potatoes of running business units and being real collaborative team members. And that's what we ask these people to do in Mexico.
That's awesome. And what led you guys down this path where you wanted to launch this business? You said since 2008, you started building it out.
So actually it started through friendship. So in 2008, we all know that there was like the housing crisis, and we had just started our property management company. And we were just kind of in that solopreneur phase. Mm-hmm. And my husband got a call from a former coworker in corporate America who lived in Mexico. And she said, "You think it's bad in the United States? You should come to Mexico. It's so bad here. Is there any way that I could work for you from home here in Mexico?" Because it's also violent in addition to the economy being bad. So he shipped over a VoIP phone and she started taking our calls, and it was the ultimate win-win. Then as that worked out, we were like, hey, our business is growing. What other roles could we fill? So we filled all the next roles, from marketing to finance to maintenance coordination to move-ins, move-outs, helping the property owners get onboarded, offboarded, all the things in Mexico. And we just operated like that till 2016. In 2016, we had friends from Denver come over, and we were kind of seeing how each other's property management companies worked. And they're like, hey, this Mexico thing is working out really well for you. Can you find people for us? And we were like, absolutely. So we hired a few more of our first employees' friends, Veronica's friends. They love them. And then my husband and I were like, I think we can help other people in our industry with the same service. And it just grew from there.
That's awesome. So talk a bit about some of the systems and processes that you guys have put into place, from hiring the right fit for the client's needs that's reached out to you, to making sure that the people are being held accountable and that they're improving in the role that they're serving in.
100%. So first problem with virtual assistants is if you don't hire people a lot, you don't even know the first questions to ask just for the screening process. So we're really careful to make sure they have the right equipment, that they have a quiet place to work, that they speak English well. So they have to take 3 different types of English tests to even get a first interview. Mm-hmm. Then they have to do a video, and you can tell a lot. I don't know. I have a friend who's on dating apps, and you can tell a lot just from the picture. So by what people choose to talk about, the background that they choose.
Wait, they're showing you the pictures?
Well,
like when you guys go out for girls' night, you're going through, are you swiping left? What's happening?
You can tell so much from that initial picture. And so same thing with these videos. It tells us so much about what they think is appropriate and whatever. So then we do a personality test. There's certain personalities that interview great, but don't do anything once they're employed. So we get rid of those so that they're not even in the pool. And so anyway, we go through
what test do you have them take? Do you mind me asking?
Culture Index.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, but it's been a game changer for
cool.
us. So we do all that before anyone even talks to anybody. Then the next part is to get that job description right. And that is something that we have learned how to do well over time. But if you don't hire people regularly, you're forgetting a lot of the big things. Like, what does winning look like? What are you going to measure for success? We also want to talk about the training timeline. Like, what is the drop dead date where if this person doesn't understand how to do this task, that you're going to be like, we're not doing it. I want to set up that standard before someone even starts, because my worst fear is that you're working with a subpar employee and that you don't want to cut the cord because, it gets messy once they're an employee. So we want to set those standards up on the front end so there's no wishy-washiness and everyone knows the expectation up front. We only win if our clients have a long-term high performer on their team. So we don't do some huge upfront fee and win with churn, which a lot of virtual assistant companies do. And so since our values and our needs are aligned, we're here to coach and to hold your hand and make it more successful than maybe you even imagined throughout the length of time that you have this employee working.
So those remote professionals, can they be treated like they're part of the team? They can join group Zoom meetings, and they can report directly to the person that's employing them, right? There's not like a buffer person in between.
No, I mean, we have people to help if you need help, but really they operate and act as if they're a team member for you. And honestly, we encourage that. It really is the best practice. They have to be on your huddles. They have to be on your weekly meetings. You've got to give them big projects that you need off of your shoulders that you want someone else to do. A lot of people say, do I have to have perfect processes and procedures to get started? You don't have to have perfect processes and procedures to get started. In fact, maybe they can help you write those. If you struggle writing that stuff down, maybe that's one of the first tasks.
Yeah.
I would say eventually you want to be a process and procedure driven culture, but if you're not there at the beginning of your journey, totally fine.
It's really fun listening to Gwenn speak to all of this, because we had a call center for quite some time. I actually sold off my ownership share in it, but it was called 1,000 Calls a Day. A lot of our listeners have probably heard us talk about it. Most of our customers were using us for outbound calls, The funny thing was we learned quickly that we would highlight all these leads, and then the people we were sending the leads to had no idea what to do with them at that point. And so we were like, we almost became a coach. We had to become a coaching company to teach people how to do this. And so when we talk about your business plan and what that looks like, what their expectations are for those job descriptions, you probably almost feel like you're in the middle of a coaching or consulting session.
We absolutely are, but that's what I love to do. And that's why I'm excited to go to your summit.
Yeah.
Because coaching business owners on making their dreams come true is really, I feel like I have the best job ever because I help small and medium-sized businesses thrive. I help those business owners reach their dreams. And at the same time, we're creating amazing middle-class jobs in an emerging market. So every day I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe this is my job.
Yeah, and I can feel that. You have really good energy. We were actually talking off air that we were born the same year, 1991. So really exciting to be from 1991 era.
That was the year.
So the teambuildingsummit.com, go lock in your ticket today. We have a special discounted rate for your hotel block. You want to take advantage of that because I know it's going to be a lot more expensive if you don't. The entire event's at the downtown Marriott Capital District, Omaha, Nebraska, 5 minutes from the airport. Just get an Uber. The whole event will be at that location. We have a lot of fun parties planned, so hopefully Gwenn will be able to take advantage of everything, not just the day she's speaking. Wednesday, May 31st, we have a 7 to 9 p.m. happy hour where everyone can mingle and get to know each other. And then all day on Thursday, June 1st, will be team building. Not just specific to building real estate teams, but specific to building any type of team. We're going to be speaking on, like what Gwenn mentioned, culture, the CEO model, growth mindset. We'll have people speaking to lead generation, lead conversion, recruiting, accountability, all the topics that are going to help you grow. And then day 2, June 2nd, we're going to be hosting all day long. We have keynotes speaking to all of the verticals that run parallel to the real estate transaction. So we've got mortgage, title, insurance, property management, investing, and the list goes on and on and on. So go out, theteambuildingsummit.com. Secure your ticket. Would love to see you in downtown Omaha. If you can't make that event, we do have a lot of workshops we offer throughout the year. You can find out more information about workshops, coaching, everything under the sun at growwithers.com. Gwenn, what is the best way for someone to reach out and find out more about Anequim? Maybe say thank you to you and reach out if they have any questions for you specifically.
So Anequim.net has tons of information on how to grow with virtual assistants. And the process, if you're uncomfortable with it, we have tons of information there.
Would you spell that for our audience?
ANEQUIM.net. Additionally, I'm on LinkedIn and I do videos on how to manage remote teams effectively Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So just look up Gwenn Aspen on LinkedIn and I'd love to connect with you.
And it's GWENNASPEN.
Well, that's just at LinkedIn.
Oh, at LinkedIn. Yeah. Thank you. Gwenn Aspen at LinkedIn. Perfect. Awesome. Well, this has been such a great event, being able to have you on the show. And I definitely want to bring you back on in a few months from now. And we have some exciting projects that we're working on together.
Yes.
So we will unveil those in the coming months. But until then, for anyone looking for a remote professional, virtual assistant, remote team member, whatever title you want to give it, I believe Anequim will do an incredible job for you. I've heard lots of really good things. And it's been awesome to have you here and get to meet you here in person.
This has been so much fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gwenn.